Hey everyone, just wanted to give you an update, tabletop review of the Colt competition pistol. Now, what we've been doing is we've been working on this pistol for some time now. When I say some time, I just mean a very short time, but I do think that this is a great example of some fun that you can have with a off-the-shelf pistol and then go on and enjoy some sort of custom features. What we've got here is a 45 ACP Series 70 Colt competition as the base gun. Let's go ahead and safety check the pistol and make sure that we are clear. That's something obviously that we need to do just because it's a good practice. Now, Colt, of course, will give you some cheap magazines or one magazine. I like to use better magazines, so I like to use these Wilson Combat 47D magazines. Every time I go into the gun store and I don't find anything else that I need, I just grab one of these because it's worth it. They're about 35 bucks, and if you can find one for cheaper, they're worth it. What I've done to this gun since the last time you've seen it is, I don't want to say substantial, but what we've done is that we've really dug into it. Yes, I have all the original parts. Yes, I can convert it mostly back to stock if I want to, but with a couple of exceptions. So when doing some tuning, I filed off too much of the little inner tooth that ultimately will have made this grip safety inoperable. So I had to go buy an EGW bar stock grip safety for this, and it's got a super short throw, and I've kind of, I don't want to say tuned it, but I've made it to work that in a way that it works really well with this particular gun, and it has a really short take up for this super high grip. And so you only need to push it in the teensiest little amount. And so I know that some people don't necessarily like that, but that's their style. What I've also done is added this great extra long, I don't want to call it a no-name trigger, but it's from it's a new old stock product from a small 1911 shop somewhere in Texas that is selling those on eBay. Now, this was actually oversized, and I had to completely file off the top and the bottom of the trigger, which is great. And then I mirror polished all the sides of the trigger bar, and then, of course, did a little bit of fitting so that it fits with the sear. And this trigger has almost no noise and no play up and down. This is my less bare. Listen to this. There is a little bit of play in this trigger up and down. This one has almost none. And it is very, very, very nice. Now, that being said, it's got so much space here that it drags a little bit. A lot of custom pistols or ones that are replaced will drag. I honestly don't mind it at all. I would rather it keep goop out, to be perfectly honest, but that's my style. The next thing that I did was, instead of using the Nighthawk bushing that I had on there, I had bought a Wilson that I wanted to try and fit a little bit better. I had screwed that up so bad that I just decided, you know what, I need to start over. And this is a tale for all you people that, you know, when you screw stuff up, yeah, you're going to screw stuff up. I got the EGW, very nice one that is made for the outside of this barrel and the inside of the slide with the matching plug here. It was about $45, and it took them about a week to get it to me, which is actually pretty fast. I did some light sanding to get this right here slide stop to match the same level of polish. If you do see the gun pictures before, it had this kind of matte sandblasted finish. I wanted that to be something that was going to be handy, that would look nice. That was really important. I also did some swapping of some parts from my Colt Colt Combat Commander, and I went ahead and I changed to the Wilson Combat Hammer. And so this one is now living with the original Colt competition hammer. It works just fine. And then I took out a couple of pieces. I took out the Harrison disconnector and sear from this gun and put them in here, and I felt that the difference was night and day. I will have to say Harrison sear, not the True Radius, but just their extreme duty national match sear is unbelievable, and that when you combine it with the Wilson Combat Hammer, I think that the trigger on this gun is remarkably light, and it is just beautiful, and it has, you know, obviously a little bit of take up here, and so I've just been, you know, and this being more of a competition gun, and I don't feel so bad. This one right here is obviously more of a combat type of a gun, and it's been beat on, and so you can feel this one goes down a bit slower. That's okay. I really don't mind that at all. This is a carry gun. This is a defense gun, and it's a little bit of a beater, and I love it for that. And it's got a lot of character. That being said, on this, I also, when I broke this, I wanted the Wilson Combat, and it came in sort of this sandblasted color. So I took some 400 grit, then some 600 grit, and I sanded it down. I have installed, of course, this little grip foil on here. Not everyone loves these grip foils, but to be honest, when you look at and compare the cost at how much it takes to actually do the checkering and some refinishing on these guns, a $10 grip foil is just not that much. So I've also added the extended Wilson Combat Bulletproof magazine release, which is so nice, especially when you get a thumb channel right here. And you know, the nice thing is that when you combine it with this magwell that I have here, that I've done some light blending on, and I say light meaning that it is the most rudimentary, unprofessional blending. You know, I feel pretty all right about it. Now, that being said, you know, I had some trouble. I've used some cheap files, and that being said, this is my gun, and I enjoy it. And I've been kind of working this up to a 400 grit, you know, just to have a nice finish. But the nice thing is that it looks pretty good with the magazine installed. And so you can kind of just see a little bit of and when the magazine goes through here and scrapes, it does leave little scrape marks. So I've learned, don't spend a lot of time worrying about this. This is kind of a hard use, high wear part. So this is the Wilson Combat Bulletproof hammer, of course, used with the Harrison disconnector and sear. I am using a 19-pound mainspring, or hammer spring in this case, and I'm also using the Wilson Combat stainless mainspring housing to replace the plastic one. I have done some sanding and some blending with files to get this area back here to match. Now, I have done more blending back here than I thought I would. I still have to do some re-bluing on this site here because I've got just a little bit of over rub from the sandpaper. So that's in the works. What I did end up doing though was just doing some blending here with the EGW grip safety. And so the nice thing is that you can run all the way up into a super high grip here. There is no more protrusion from these two little ears, which is nice. Before, if you see a picture, those do exist. I will show you on this gun where they exist, although this blending is kind of atrocious. But on most 1911s, there is some metal that sticks out here that's kind of round. So we filed that down, sanded it, and then of course I had to just try to work on getting the finish acceptable, and it took a long time. So this is kind of 120 or 150 grit. And then of course, as you can see, the finish is fairly good. And the action on this particular gun is the reason I bought it. It's nice and tight. And compared to this particular one, which has some play in it, which is kind of interesting. I think that's kind of, you know, that being said, it's never affected anything in this gun. So I'm using these Cool Hand Amazon grips because I wanted to teach myself how to cut in the channel for the Wilson Combat magwell here. I think that if I'm going to change grips often, I'm probably going to buy the magwell mainspring housing together. I think that if you change grips often, you need to. Otherwise, you'll need to modify almost all your grips, or you can use the company Lock, L-O-K grips, that will machine one of these into your grips for you. So the nice thing is that this Colt competition comes with a national match barrel, which I verified its very, very strict tolerances. Now I've got a higher than national match bushing on it and adjustable sights. So in my personal opinion, there's no reason that this gun should not be just as accurate as this Les Baer. Now, will it be? Probably not. Les Baer is a genius and a master at building guns, but will it be within, you know, the 90th percentile of this gun? Totally, for half the price, right? I said in another video, you know, we were talking about a Corvette and a Ferrari. One is a really, really nice example of doing everything the best, most perfect way, and one way is really getting the 95th percentile of performance out of it and then cutting a lot of corners. And that's what this is. Cutting the corners is doing things myself, doing it kind of cheaply, buying $20 Amazon grips and learning how to cut the channels myself, right? That being said, these $20 Amazon grips are fantastic. They are I think it's Cool Hand, and they were like $20. So The nice thing about this is that this gun has less than $1,500 into it, I think, when you account for most of the parts. If you can get a Colt that is nice and tight, that has decent, finish on it, if you do some looking around, and you spend $50, $60 on, fire control group parts, spend, $40 on a trigger, you definitely don't need to change the grip safety or the actual thumb safety. I was going to have to change. There's just no way I would have a plastic mainspring housing on this. The hammer, I think, really helps with the crispness of the trigger. But the biggest things that make this gun as accurate as it is just going to be good sights, a good fiber optic, a National Match barrel, and an EGW custom barrel bushing set. So this gun is just going to be lights out, accurate, and effectively give you a lot of competition possibilities if you decide that you wanted to use that for competition, and maybe not have to go beat up on my Les Baer monolith so much. I don't know. I got this gun because I wanted to have a gun that I could keep for a lifetime. And you know what? The modifications that I've done on it warrant hanging on to it. Just because, okay, is it to a level where I could sell it? I could tell people that I've had a gunsmith do it. No, I would never pay a gunsmith for this low quality of work. To be honest, I think that but I think, though, for someone like myself, I can get the highest grip possible. I can have a super light trigger with a super long pull that looks really beautiful, and all of the parts on the gun are super high end. So, I mean, this is just something where I'm just very thrilled. One of the things I might want to do at some point also is put a really good set. I'd like to get some rattlesnake, Diamondback, Western Diamondback print grips, because Colt has a lot of that snake thing, and I have a couple of Colt Pythons. So I don't know. I think that might be kind of fun, and maybe gonna get them in the, that particular leather print. I love leather grips for 1911 pistols. So anyways, this has just been my most recent project. I made this gun for the change of a job and the birth of my son. I like to commemorate significant things in my life with the purchase of a gun, or something nice, a memento. And maybe this is something I'll give to him one day. Let's say I get long enough to see him grow up, which is that's a goal for me. So anyways, I hope you're doing well. If you have any questions, I'd appreciate any kind of interaction with the video. That'll always drive up views and things, so that'll make my life a whole lot better as far as the small channel goes. And I hope everyone's doing well. Bye-bye.